If you are a creative of any kind, this book is going to be your new Bible. Doesn't matter if you're a content creator, designer, marketer, copywriter, poet, it doesn't matter. If you create anything, this book is mandatory. It talks about creativity from a very fresh perspective and non-scientific way. The idea that anyone can be creative just by cultivating a mindset of openness, curiosity, and just paying attention to the world around us. And I know it sounds a little bit of woo, okay? I thought the same when I first started reading it, but please hear me out. Stay with me because I'm going to show you everything you can learn from this book and how it completely redefined creativity for me. And I'm talking about the one and only The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rubin. Listen, every artist, entrepreneur, or creator knows the grind. Having to create constantly, having never-ending ideas or the lack of ideas altogether, and constantly needing to stay ahead. Especially in the age of the internet where everything must be very fast-paced. But there's a question. How do you keep your creativity alive if you're constantly in work mode? And the answer is pretty simple. Well, kind of simple. You need to use creativity as a way of seeing. That is one of the main points of the book that I want to talk about here in this video. Creativity as a way of seeing. Rick talks about the importance of seeing things creatively, details, paying attention to the details of everyday life, and staying present as being essential to being creative. It's very much easier said than done, of course, as most of us just feel like creativity slips through our fingers because we are not paying enough attention to our surroundings and to the constant flow of ideas that are constantly presented to us in everyday life. But there is a way around that. In the book, Rubin talks about a concept called source. Source is a universal creative energy, a force basically that exists beyond the individual. Imagine like a force from the Star Wars that flows between everyone, but only those who are perceptive to it can actually do something with it. And now that I'm paying attention, it really sounds like the force from Star Wars. In real life though, most of us don't create this perception. We don't develop this perception until much later in life, if at all. And this happens because we see the world through the limiting lens of what we were taught. A religion, a way of thinking, a philosophy, culture, the rules of society we live in, and so on. But you don't need to let go of these things to be attuned with the source. You only need to be able to see past them, to be able to combine different materials, different source materials, different pieces of knowledge and synthesize it into something new. You are not the source of the work, you are the vessel that allows the work to come through. This book isn't just about getting better at creating, it's about approaching things with a creative mindset. Whether you're building a business, creating content, figuring out your next step, this book can show you that creativity is not something you do, but rather a way of living life. And with time, as we get more attuned with the source material, we can start leveraging it and turning ideas into reality. But sometimes we lose the window of opportunity here because ideas have a time to happen. How often have you heard people talking about, oh, I had the Uber idea before it was a thing? And you can replace Uber here with literally any famous idea out there. But as humans, we don't own ideas, we own the execution of ideas. The Uber idea happened when it needed to happen, and for sure it must have been presented to a lot of people, but only those who were truly attuned and in sync were able to bring that idea into reality, into the physical realm. Creativity in that sense, as displayed in the book, would be almost like a dance with the source. And as I mentioned in my video about how everyone can be creative, this is also a skill. It's not something only artists or musicians are born with. Creativity is not a gift for the chosen few. It is a mindset. Trusting intuition or gut feeling, or however you want to call it, is another great value displayed in this book. Rubin talks about how our inner voice often leads to our best work, and I couldn't agree more. And the people who not follow their inner voice are usually the one copying others on the internet, because they are not able to synthesize ideas and create something new, something original. And of course, we're talking about authenticity here from the perspective of synthesizing new things, different things, into a new idea, or what we can call something original. If you go on YouTube or Google right now and search anything about any topic, you will find a bunch of blog articles, videos, people on the internet just talking about the right way of doing something. And this is precisely why the internet has so much noise, because people are unable to craft their own opinions and ideas, because after all, it's easier to just copy others. Truth is, there is no right way of doing anything, and the idea of a right way only stifle original ideas. By following our instincts, Rubin believes, and I agree with him, we can find ways to defy logic and to break industry standards. And that, my friends, is a pathway to unique expression. But to achieve that, we must learn how to stop overanalyzing and overthinking everything and just letting ideas flow, combining pieces of information like a Lego piece to create something new, even if it's raw, just creating something based on intuition, because we can always worry about refinement later. This lesson was very hard for me to learn and to wrap my head around, because I am by nature a very analytical person. I have plan A, B, and C for everything. I overthink a lot and I overplan a lot, but slowly, step by step, I'm trying to implement the idea of creating something just based on intuition or based on the source material. That way I can start seeing the world without judgment and without overthinking too much. And that has been helping me in my creator business a lot, because by observing things differently, even the small things, I can start to see new ideas everywhere. I can start to see new approaches to old problems. And this is exactly where innovation starts, in the ordinary. But then there's another thing, the outcome. From a very young age, especially if you're Gen Z or younger, we were taught that everything we do or create must be shared or monetized. This is something I'm very vocal about here on this channel. I don't think you should monetize everything. It's totally fine to just have hobbies for the sake of hobbies. And Rubin agrees with me during the book. He talks about creation without the intention of sharing it. And I think he does that because of the concept of a true self. I heard once that we can only find ourselves through solitude, because no one knows who we truly are and how we act when nobody is seeing it. And creating something without the idea of sharing it frees you up to experiment different things, new ideas that truly resonate with you, rather than just thinking about what will get likes and attention. Because when you let go of the outcomes, you might just create your best work. If you are focused on the results, you will miss the magic of the process. There is a simple way to practice it, is by having a no pressure project, something you will create only for yourself without ever sharing it with anyone. You're not going to post about it, you're not going to post your work in progress pictures. This is something for you and you only. Try to be fully present, just you and your creation, and let go completely of the results it might get. This is one of the best ways we can start seeing value in the process instead of just in the final product. And if you're thinking too much about who will see your project, here's what Rubin has to say about it.
The audience comes last. Well, the audience doesn't know what they want. The audience only knows what's come before.
That, my friends, is how you can best serve your audience if you have one, by not focusing on them. I know it sounds weird. If you can switch your focus from your audience to what you are creating, you're putting 100% of your energy in the creation itself, because it's your energy that are going to attract people to your work and not your intention on attracting them. That lesson was truly liberating for me as a content creator, because you see people all the time talking about having a niche, plugging your offer, and creating personas and all of the marketing lingo that is just boring. It's necessary sometimes, yes, I won't spit on the plate that I ate, after all, marketing is my background, but true creation, the one that truly resonates with you the most, it won't go pretty far if the intention is just selling it. Another point of the book is about embracing constraints. I know, I just talked to you about creating freely and now I'm talking about constraints. And just hear me out, okay? I know it sounds weird, but limitations might seem like a bad thing, but it actually can spark new ideas. Rubin encourages creators to have creative boundaries because it forces you to get inventive, to think about new ways of overcoming a challenge, and you might not do it otherwise. For creatives like you and me, having constraints can lead to a signature style that's going to help us define our own brands. I've seen this happen firsthand here on my channel with the content that I create. One of the constraints that I have is that I didn't have much time to create, only about like 1 or 2 hours a day, because I do work a 9 to 5. And I always thought that was very limiting for me. My goal is to create one video a week, so I use that constraint to craft my week in a way that enables me to do that. That way I can create freely, but within that 1 or 2 hour window every day. So on Mondays and Tuesdays, I work on my script. On Wednesdays, I do my recording. On Thursdays, I edit. On Fridays, I create the title and thumbnail. On Saturdays, I launch the video. And on Sundays, I just pretty much chill and organize for the next week. I am very consistent with the schedule, and it has been like that for the past 2 months. So the constraints really worked on me. And even though I haven't found my signature style yet, that doesn't stop me from creating what I want to see in the world. What I think is beautiful about this book is the way that Rubin makes you relate from very different angles. How he proposes a new approach to the whole grind situation we see people talking about on the internet nowadays. It offers a very powerful and practical way to reframe how we work and how we see creativity. And I truly think we need this perspective nowadays more than ever. This book now lives rent-free in my mind ever since I read it. It became one of my favorite books of all time, and I highly recommend you reading it. There's going to be a link in the description if you want to grab your copy. Thank you so much for watching this video. Consider subscribing to the channel and leave a like on the video. I'm trying to build this channel from scratch, and it's very hard to do that, so your support is very much appreciated. There are 2 videos on the screen right now that I think you will like, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Goodbye.